Morning, we are back on the house build. So, morning, we are back on the house build today. So we've got quite a bit to do. We've got electricians coming Monday. Mr. Critterford has been round and we have marked everything up on each floor. So basically he goes around with a spray can. I say what I want here, there and everywhere in each room. And all of these references mean something to him. All the little dots on the wall, everything. Downside is if you remember we had the problems with the insulation, we have to provide another form of solution for the downstairs of the house that Wayne and our building regs and our architects has all sort of come up with together, which is what they call a tanking slurry we're putting on the inside. So we had two options. We could either batten it and felt it to provide this additional damp course membrane, which would mean we would lose roughly 50 mil of the room space, which I know doesn't sound a lot, but as we all know, 2 inches is a lot. Or we could put this tanking slurry on. So basically you paint this type cement-based paste and that will provide a secondary sort of damp course membrane. Although there's not going to be an issue because we tape the joints, if you remember, for building regs it needs to be done. So we've got to tank this round now, which once we've done it, I can't see that we're going to actually see any of these references that Mr. Critterford has put on. So he's going to shout at me Monday morning because all the work that we've done going around the house, setting everything out, has then got to be redone downstairs. So we're going to get on with that now. We'll show you some of that as we're doing it. But basically I have cocked up a little bit because when we pressure washed the outside of the house, what I wish we'd done is I wish we'd done the inside as well, because we've created a little bit more work now. Because all the sort of dust and snots on the cement, all the bits of rubbish and, you know, like this here. If we'd have pressure washed all that off, we could have just got on with tanking slurry today. But because we didn't, we've now got to scrape it all off, sweep it all down, get rid of all the dust, the debris, all the rubbish basically off everything, so that we can apply this tanking slurry. So we'll get on with that and then we'll show you some of the slurry in a minute. Get ready. That is first coat on and you can see how it's drying. Although you've smothered it and covered most of the nooks and crannies on the first coat, as it's drying you still get these little pockets, these little air pockets that pop through in places. So when you put the second coat on, obviously all of them little nooks and crannies then will be filled, so it'll be a completely sealed wall. So then when we come to put the electric socket points in, which are obviously lower level, but when they come to go in, because we wanted a raised socket away from the wall instead of a flat profile, the back box doesn't need to go in as deep, but basically we still need to chop that in and knock out about 10 or 15 mil of this block work. So we'll seal it like we've done now, we then knock that out, or James and the guys come and knock that out, and then when they knock it out, we'll come and repair that patch with this tanking slurry, and then it's still completely sealed. Okay, so we've done through the kitchen, we've done in and round the living room, and we've just literally, we've done the utility, and we've just got this last bit of wall now left to do, and that'll be the first coat done. What we've done is, the way we've done it, we've gone round the big areas first, if you like, the big walls. We've done all of them. It's only the exterior walls that we need to do, because the interior walls, there is no potential risk of damp transfer. So we've given it all its first coat. Now it's a 2-coat product, or system, so you put the first coat on and then within 24 hours you've got to put the second coat on. So by the looks of it, by the time we finish this bit of wall here and add something to eat, it'll be pretty much time to rip round again. So we'll have it all done today, ready for Monday for everybody else, all the other trades coming in. So this is the product. It is this KA tanking slurry, and basically what you do, it's like, it almost looks a bit like cement. We gauge it in the bucket, the water. We add this too as we're whisking it with the paddle whisk. So we mix it up to a consistency that's like custard, if you like. And then what we have to do when we apply it, you can't just put it straight on a dry wall. So we wet the wall down, so the wall is damp. We apply the product too, and then obviously, like I say, we let it dry. When it's completely dry, we'll go the same process again. So we'll dampen down the areas that we've already painted. Then we'll reapply the second coat, and that should be it. And every little nook and crevice is filled, and there can't be any transfer of damp through into the house then. Okay, so there we go. That has had now 2 coats. It dries really quick. It's gone, it's done, and it's completely sealed. So as you can see, all the little holes in the brickwork or the pointing or anything like that are completely filled now. And it has provided that sort of barrier for any damp or water ingress. It can't now get through to the inside of the house. So even if it managed to come off a snot on the back of the brickwork and chase its way through the insulation, which is taped so it actually can't, but even if it did in anywhere or in any way, shape or form, it would then seep through the block and basically hit that barrier and have nowhere to go, so it's got to go back out that way. We haven't got to do the same upstairs because when the building regs come out and we had our inspection and it was noticed that the wrong insulation was used, that was only used from the stone heads of where the windows were down. So that was the wrong insulation. Everything from there above, we've obviously done with the correct insulation. But if you remember, even the stuff that we used down, we taped the joints, which they hadn't got a data sheet. So it's still not going to cause a problem, but we've gone above and beyond anyway. We belt and braced it. We've gone up to the level of effectively where the stone heads are or where the insulation has changed over. And we've also gone that extra sort of 500-600 mil to the ceiling height. So it's all done. I'm happy now. And like I say, on Monday now, James can come in, start pulling his cables and everything through. And then after that, we've got plasterers lined up. We've got quite a busy few weeks coming up actually, because all the windows have arrived. So window weighing is coming in this coming week now to start fitting the windows. So really excited to get them in, see how that looks. Once all the windows are in, once all of the electrics are in, and we've had that next section signed off by building regs, we've then got Nick and the guys coming in to plasterboard and plaster everything. So I think in the next month to 6 weeks, it's really going to come on now, which is what I'm desperate for, because I'm adamant we're in for Christmas. Okay, Monday morning, it is all going on. We've got some new kids on the block to build the planters, but we've had an immense amount of rain again over the weekend, so we're completely flooded. So Wayne's just been and dug a sump hole to try and get rid of some of that water, to drain the site off into the sump hole. We'll put a submersible pump in and keep pumping that water away so that the guys can be getting on. We've got JDC just rock up as well, so they're here now to start doing all the first fix electrics. So we're going to go through with them now what's happening on each floor. There's so much to think about. There's all the bits that they'll sort out, like the fire alarm and all of them bits and the general circuits, but it's exactly where every circuit is going, where every switch, where every speaker is going as well for the sound system that we want, or TVs and sound bars and things like that. So there's a lot to think about. So I'm going to go and set up with them now. Okay, so that's everybody up and running. We've just been through everything with Tom in terms of the upstairs of what's going where, so he knows what he's doing. Wayne has sorted the new kids on the block out round with the raised planters, so they're on with that. We've got windows hopefully being fitted this week as well. They all turned up sort of last week, and I think there's some glass coming today. One thing Wayne's got to do just before window weighing comes is we need to put the cavity closures in. So cavity closures are to close off the gap between the internal blockwork and the external brickwork. So when the windows go in, them cavity closures need to be in first. There's quite a bit of work in these because unfortunately the insulation has been sailed a little bit too far out, so that means we've got to crop back the insulation now to be able to fit that cavity closure. So it has created a bit more work than I was hoping it to have done, but basically we need to get all of them, or Wayne needs to get all of them cavity closures in before Wednesday, because Wednesday Wayne is actually going off onto one of our concreting jobs to give us a chuck. So he's basically got today and tomorrow to get all that done, amongst a couple of other little small jobs that I've given to do. So then the last new addition that we've got are the two walls either side of the front door for the oak porch to go on. So basically what we've got here is we put two footings in, and we went for a wider front door, so our front door is 1200 in width, which we're having a bespoke made oak front door. So Mark, the guy who's doing it for us, I'm going to see if we can nip over actually and have a look at part of the process as he's building it, and then obviously show you the install once it's done. So then what we've got are the two dwarf walls that we built. Now they don't look dwarf walls at the minute because the ground out here has massively got to be raised yet. We've got all the stone to level this through, as in hardcore to level this through to the right height, and then ultimately all the paving to go on as well. So that pretty much comes up to about that course there. So that'll be effectively what the paving is out here. So you've got the little dwarf walls then, and then on top of that we've got a bespoke oak frame that Wayne is designing for us. So I basically give him a bit of a fag packet drawing of what I roughly wanted it to look like. He'll take that away, he'll do some detailed drawings, bring them back, we'll have a look at them, and as long as we're all happy, then that'll go in. And that'll have a slate roof on which will match everything else that we've got going on, and it'll set the front of the house off absolutely perfect. So that's it for new stuff today. We'll come back in a week or two when we've got windows in and we've got a little bit more electricians work. The planters will be a little bit further along then as well. So if you like what you've seen, hit subscribe, ring the bell, and after a house build montage, we'll catch you next time. Cheers.